by taking on this baseline assessment, we can show a model for other districts who might be interested in doing as such, because it really gives you the opportunity to show your community and your internal stakeholders that the district is making an effort to be a more sustainable and environmentally conscious district. And that's important because, school districts, are cultivating future generation, whether you're anywhere in the K through 12 sector, right? We're developing the future leaders. My name is Dwayne Taylor. I'm the General Manager of Facilities Use here with the San Mateo Union High School District. My role in the district and as part of this whole sustainability push was really to help lead things. So I was approached by our superintendent, Dr. Kevin Skelly, who's a sustainability champion in his own right, and really wants to see our district really assert itself in the Bay Area and the state as being one with a really and truly a green focus. Personally, I've always wondered, like, what we can do as individuals to create a more sustainable environment for future generations. And sustainability, as most people know, it's very large and all encompassing, right? And you can find your own niche within what you're passionate about in sustainability, whether it's transportation, whether it's energy efficiency, whether it's preserving the local watersheds and local ecosystems. We all have our niche. For me personally, it's transportation resiliency. That's something that I'm definitely interested in. I'm looking to see how I can be a better steward of the environment in my world, right? And I'm also interested in transportation sustainability. So this was a perfect match for me. And so I jumped at the opportunity to be part of the district leadership team that would ensure that our district is operating from a sustainable perspective and doing what we can to champion those efforts within our district. Several years ago, there was a concerted effort to make sure the district's operating from a sustainable perspective. So we had board policies that were passed, and part of the baseline assessment, it was going to serve two purposes. One, it was going to see how we were actually performing based on the board policies, and then two, it was used as a tool to communicate all the good work or opportunities for growth that were available. So there were quite the number of people involved, from principals to site facility managers to teachers to AP environmental sciences teachers to the Green Club. We spoke with custodial staff. We spoke with business services staff, then all the leaders of some of the other departments, whether it was facilities in my department, maintenance and operations, transportation, nutrition services. And I mean, we talked to essentially all the stakeholders within the district, because sustainability is really, it's not only a culture, but you can be sustainable in all your activities. So it was important to get an idea from all the players in the district. And so it gave us the opportunity to really dig into how we were performing in various areas. And so we spoke to individuals on a campus to see what they thought about, things such as, what does our energy use look like? What about transportation? And one thing we found was that a lot of people weren't aware of some of the activities and actions that the district was taking. And that's no fault of anyone's. It's just that, you kind of get caught up working in your own silos, and you don't have time to consider what else is being done. So after the baseline assessment was complete and we looked at things, we said, wow, really, we've done quite a bit, and we're really moving in the correct direction. Now, there are some areas where we've done well, and there's some areas where there might be opportunity for growth. And that was confirmed through our baseline assessment. And so now, we're looking at, okay, what's the next steps? Should we do some strategic planning and, confirm a vision for the district, a mission statement for our district. And that's where we find ourselves now, like how we're going to progress moving forward. But, we think by taking on this baseline assessment, we can show a model for other districts who might be interested in doing as such, because it really gives you the opportunity to show your community and your internal stakeholders that the district is making an effort to be a more sustainable and environmentally conscious district. And that's important because, school districts, are cultivating future generation, whether you're anywhere in the K through 12 sector, right? We're developing the future leaders. And so we want to make sure that we can put it on their minds to be a more sustainable individual and school district and community. Sustainability is all about, it's a culture shift, right? And we know, as much as we want things to happen at the speed of light, we have to understand that we're not in a speedboat. We're more on like on a cargo tanker, even though there's an immediate need to make changes. We know we have the baseline assessment and we know where to go. And that's what's going to be most successful for us and most valuable for us. We know where to go and we don't need to spin our wheels in place working on things that we've already accomplished. We're moving in a direction now where we have these site sustainability facilitators who are going to help lead the charge at the school, so we can have a consistent theme and consistent message and brand sustainability across the district. And so we pursued hiring those positions at the start of this. And so now they're in place. And so that in itself is going to be beneficial because we have this baseline assessment that was conducted at each site. So we can see how the school is performing, and we can have these site sustainability facilitators help identify the areas from the baseline assessment that, are strong or maybe need a little more support. And we can tailor the message to overcome the deficiency that exists. So that right there is going to be huge for our district. And, and we now have a point person on campus to help lead the green clubs or communicate the district's message throughout the school, because communication is a big part of, moving sustainability forward and understanding what one site is doing compared to the next. We already have solar on several of our campuses, but we're looking at increasing our solar footprint if possible, and looking at battery storage. We also recently installed lights at Hillsdale High School that were, off grid. And so they were fully, working off of solar energy. So that's really awesome. So we're still exploring things like adding more EV charging capacity in our district. That's something I'm really excited about. But so that's in the works. So that's to be determined, and stay tuned. But those are some of the things that immediately jump off, from my perspective. And obviously, we're working on the waste option through the 4Rs grant. So we got some different things going. So and that some of like the EV charging stations is, it's more of a capital outlay with that. So there are other things to cover, but it's something that we're looking at because transportation resiliency is something that's important. And we've done things like added bike racks to the different campuses to stimulate more bike riding to and from work or school when possible. But the EV charging stations is something that is important because, we have people in the district who drive electric vehicles. And one thing to mention is that just because it's on the campus doesn't mean it has to be used by the students or the faculty or staff. You have community members at the district office, for example. I'll come in on Saturday and there's a car plugged in. So people are using them in the community. And so it's just providing another service, especially when you're a community-oriented district like us, that's helpful. But I think what will happen is we can use this as a tool to actually teach and educate our students. And I think that's going to be really big for us. I could see projects evolving out of this, and give students, more, maybe kind of get the wheels turning for them on career paths, because the baseline assessment had 9 focus areas, right? So there's a lot of different opportunities, and we're just scratching the surface, really. So I think, we'll see more, see in the future, coming months, how we can, really lean on all we did with the baseline assessment to make ourselves a more viable and successful district. Our students, have presented to the board and passing, getting the board to support declaring a climate emergency, a state of climate emergency. And that's in itself was monumental, because now other districts will see that we're making an effort, and we've acknowledged that there is a real problem, and we're going to do all we can to help support, mitigating any more harmful effects on the environment. Some of the, site walks that I conducted with Naomi from the County Office of Education were done in conjunction with student leaders. So they had opportunity to walk the campus and see how we looked at the landscape, how we looked at the solar panels, how we reviewed the boilers, to see, like, okay, this is where a lot of your natural gas consumption comes from. For all your heating on the campus, it's coming through here. So these were very valuable, opportunities. And we also, we would have the principal with us. So the students getting FaceTime with the administrative team in a capacity that they don't normally. And I think that's priceless. I got a chance to interact with stakeholders on the sites that I don't necessarily speak with, like some of the, science teachers, some of the students. I don't necessarily engage with them on a day-to-day basis because I'm not as involved in curriculum. But as part of this process, I got a chance to work with them through a different lens. I also had opportunity to see what were some of the ideas they had on being more sustainable. Different ways to market and grow our footprint from a sustainability perspective. And I think that was really helpful because it had me to open my eyes on how I can be a better steward of the environment. I think, just a better understanding. I got a chance to really dive into like the board policy and really understand, where we were at and look at where we were to compare to where we're at today. And that's helpful because, I think, a lot of times, like we've said, you don't think work is being done, but it actually has. And being able to speak from a place of understanding, whether it's, some of the policy around plug loads, right? What are we doing with, coffee makers in the office or space heaters in the office, right? No, we're eliminating those because we want to lower our energy consumption. How we've have our pool set to a certain temperature, during the athletic season, or the interior, the indoor air, climate. All these different things are addressed in the board policy, which is something that we don't all read on a on a daily basis, right? So now I'm more knowledgeable in those areas, which will allow me to be a better manager. So I think, just the whole process, it's really a tool, and it gives us a roadmap and a foundation on how we want to move forward. One of the things I realized, and it's very simple, and we all generate waste. I think there needs to be more education just to the layperson about how to properly recycle, how to properly, compost, and send the appropriate waste to the landfill. Because right now, it doesn't happen to the level it needs to. Like we're trying to indoctrinate our students on the campus, our staff, but what happens when we leave here, right? What about our neighbor, our roommate, our spouse, significant other, what are they doing? Do they recycle? And I think people want to do it, but it's one of those things that it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. So I don't do anything with it. But if we could affect one person who can affect one person who can affect another person, we can start to, reduce some of the harmful effects of just waste pollution. I think if you have any desire to be a more sustainable district and reduce your carbon footprint, I think the baseline assessment is a great way to identify where you're at, and you can create a roadmap on where you want to go moving forward. Because it's not to say that all the opportunity areas have to be addressed at once. You can make it a goal to say, we're going to focus on this for the next year. You can create a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, but you can at least establish board policies and begin the conversation about how we can be a more sustainable district. It takes a lot of time, but the end result is definitely worth it, because we have an outstanding document that really captures the district's performance across 9 focus areas, all of which are important for the district and the sustainable actions that we want to undertake. And so, and you also have opportunity to use that information as a learning tool for your students.